Hey everyone, welcome to 2022. We are almost halfway through the first month of 2022. At the beginning of every year, we talk about purpose. We talk about goals, we talk about resolutions, intentions, and in that broader conversation is this underlying idea that we all live with a purpose, that we live on purpose, we live on a mission, we live on an assignment for the current season. Or what I like to say is lead and live from your design. All of that is a conversation that we need to have, but there's something that we leave out of that. What was it that Thomas Carlyle said? The man without a purpose is like a ship without a rudder. We all need purpose, but when we talk about that, we don't recognize or discuss the fact that everyone is driven by something, even if it's not our purpose, our intention, our plan that we're driven by. We're driven by something. So let me give you some examples of things that we're driven by. One thing would be guilt. We can be driven by guilt, not purpose, intention, mission, but by guilt. The things in our past that we are upset about or feel our mistakes or bad decisions, we can be driven in the current day by things in our past. Or we can be driven by resentment and anger. We rehearse the pain or the hurt over and over again, and we fuel that resentment and anger, and we end up hurting ourselves and not so much the person we resent or are angry at. We can be driven by that instead of purpose or intention. We can be driven by fear. This idea of we miss the opportunities because we're holding everything so close. We won't venture out. We're just maintaining the status quo. We can be driven by materialism. We gain more, we want more, we acquire more because we think it'll give us security. Or maybe we feel like as our financial worth increases, our self-worth will increase. We can also be driven by the need for approval. This idea that everybody's opinion matters and I have to be yo-yoed to it. So we can be driven by a lot of things. A handful of them I just mentioned: guilt, resentment, fear, materialism, and the need for approval. If we're not being driven by purpose, we're being driven by something. That's an important point for us to understand. Knowing our purpose, knowing our direction, knowing our design, knowing our why, knowing our assignment for the current season, however you want to phrase it, does some things for us. And the first thing it does is gives meaning. It puts some meaning into our life. Rick Warren said, the greatest tragedy is not death, but life without purpose. So it puts some meaning in our life. It also simplifies our life. People that don't have an understanding of their why or their design or their purpose, they tend to do too much. But when you understand your purpose, you can say yes to certain things and no to a lot of other things. So it simplifies your life. And then it gives us focus. You've seen the coworker or the family member that gets 400 notifications on their phone all day long, and all they do is answer those notifications and they never get anything else done, even though they had a to-do list, right? That focus going all over the map ends up with accomplishing nothing. So having this purpose is a rudder to your ship. It gives you this focus that you need. And then finally, another thing that purpose will do for us is give us motivation. It's the reason we get up in the morning. It's the reason we do the next thing. It's the reason we do the mundane, because we know it's a part of something bigger. So we want to live on purpose with our design, knowing our why, however you want to say it, because it gives meaning to our life. It simplifies our life. It gives us focus, and it gives us motivation. George Bernard Shaw says this: "This is the true joy of life. The being, meaning the human being, used up for a purpose recognized by ourselves as a mighty one. Being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clot of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making us happy." George Bernard Shaw. I'm going to read it one more time because that is a mouthful. That is really, really good. This is the true joy of life, the being used up for a purpose recognized by ourselves as a mighty one. being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making us happy. I'll try to remember to type that out in the comments because that's a really great quote. The point is, what I want us to understand right here at the very beginning of 2022 is that living on purpose is the path to peace. Most of us have been looking for the path to peace. Living on purpose is the path to peace. So here's the question I want you to chew on for the next week. What would your family, your friends say is the driving force of your life? And what do you want it to be? So what are other people saying is the driving force of your life? And more importantly, what do you want that driving force to be? Let's talk about it some more next Wednesday at 1. I'm Michele Gooch with Life by Design. I know you want to live a life of meaning, and that life gets in the way sometimes, and we're just struggling to stay alive. And so I created a framework that gets you from where you are right now to where you want to be. If you're interested in that, you can find me at lifebydesign.guru, www.lifebydesign.guru. I'll see you next Wednesday at 1.